Tyler Perry is so full of crap, talking about, oh, well, I did it to pay homage to my sisters, my aunts, my mothers, grandmothers. If that was the case, you did that 30 movies ago, talking about some representation of the reality. First of all, even if that's the case, you think a woman who's working 2 jobs to support her children, stressed, depressed, can't even afford to send them lunch money, eviction notice on their door, wants to come home, turn the TV on, and seeing a movie that projects her entire life? A terrible ending at that? Now, representation does matter, but you can also do that in a positive light. The only time you try to do a comedic relief movie is when you do a Medea movie that you're the lead in. Especially with Taraji coming on here saying that people don't pay her enough, but that you paid her enough, and she appreciates that. Of course she's gonna do a movie for you. The only one that's paying her. To minimize her entire catalog, stress, and depressed.
Tyler Perry often talks about how his movies are meant to honor and represent Black women, his sisters, aunts, mother, and grandmothers. But honestly, that explanation doesn't quite hold up anymore. If honoring Black women was really his goal, why does it feel like we've been watching the same painful, negative storylines play out in nearly every single movie for the past 30 projects? Let's be real, representation matters. But it doesn't always have to be heartbreaking and traumatic. Picture this. There's a hardworking woman out there juggling 2 jobs just to keep a roof over her kids' heads. She's stressed, exhausted, barely has enough money to pack their lunches, and has an eviction notice stuck to her front door. When she finally gets a moment to sit down and turn on the TV, does she really want to see a character whose life mirrors her own misery, with no happy ending in sight? Yes, it's important to show real struggles. But where's the hope? Where's the balance? Tyler Perry tends to only bring lighthearted moments when it comes to his Medea movies, where he plays the lead himself. It's like the only time Black women are allowed to be funny or find some kind of joy is when he puts on a wig and plays the part himself. People were especially surprised when actress Taraji P. Henson recently said she appreciated that.
I can tell you this, I have made more Black millionaires, hear me when I say this, than any studio in this city combined, because I'm making footprints.
Tyler paid her fairly. Of course, she would say that he's one of the few who actually did pay her what she's worth. She has said before that she's often underpaid in Hollywood, despite her decades of hard work. But getting one fair paycheck doesn't erase a pattern of making films that seem to profit off the pain of Black women. And it's not just Taraji. Other entertainers like Monique, Christian Keys, and Brandon J have called out Tyler Perry in the past. They've shared stories of how he uses his power to silence or punish people who don't follow his rules. Monique, for example, said her career suffered for years because she refused to let Sir tie. This isn't just a one-time issue either. You can see the same kind of stories in many of Perry's films and TV shows, The Oval, Ruthless, Sisters, and Beauty in Black, to name a few. It's hard not to notice the patterns when they keep showing up over and over. The weird part is that when Perry talks about his work, he makes bold claims like, "I've made more Black millionaires than any studio in LA." That sounds great on the surface, but it also feels like a way to protect his image. People were already starting to speak out against him again, and it's possible that speech was meant to distract from the criticism. It's a tricky situation because, yes, he has done good things. He's helped people financially, donated to causes, and paid actors fairly when others wouldn't. But those good deeds don't automatically erase the valid concerns about how he writes his stories and treats the people who work with him. You can be generous in one area and still cause harm in another. What's especially frustrating is that this cycle keeps repeating. In I Can Do Bad All By Myself, Taraji's character, a successful woman, falls in love with a man who's jobless and living in her basement. In Acrimony, she plays a woman who supports her man for years, only for him to leave her and live happily ever after with someone else, while she dies alone. It's exhausting to watch Black women suffer again and again with no real reward in the end. And let's talk about what's happening behind the scenes. According to multiple actors, working with Tyler Perry can be very stressful. He's known for walking onto set and completely rewriting scenes on the spot. If you disagree with him, you're not likely to win the argument.
I don't know if Tyler Perry doesn't like Black women or doesn't give a damn about Black women or thinks he knows Black women, but these storylines that he's concocting that's supposed to be the story of black women are so idiotic. I cannot take it anymore.
Because he has full control over editing. Even the director might step back and tell the actors, just go with it. Otherwise, you risk getting fired. One actor described how Perry would feed them new lines in the middle of filming and expect them to instantly adapt. If anyone pushed BAC,
everything changes. So we literally run the entire episode for him and he hates it. Does that mean I have to learn a whole new script? Yes, that's what it means. Mr. Perry on the spot starts rewriting the entire script and he's feeding me the lines to say, and the director is kind of standing on the side like, you better do it because if not, they will fire you.
You know, and if we have a disagreement about the way the scene should go, I'll be like, okay, let's try it my way and we'll try it your way and we'll see which one works. But mine always wins out.
Because he has the control of the editing right.
That's
I'm
exactly.
actually thankful to this person, not for what they did, but for showing me exactly how not to act when you're in charge. When you're a leader, you don't pressure, intimidate, or mistreat the people who work for you. You definitely don't use your power to sexually harass or bully your employees. So yes, in a strange way, I'm grateful because it taught me how to treat others better. Recently, another actor from The Oval, Derek Dixon, came forward and filed a $260 million lawsuit against Tyler Perry. He claims Perry created a toxic work environment and made inappropriate moves toward him. Derek stayed silent for a long time because he knew how powerful Tyler was in the industry. He was afraid that if he rejected him or spoke up, his acting career would be over. That fear kept him quiet, always worried that saying something would cost him his job and income. In response to these
people who think that my films focus on the struggle of black women, because they're right, it does. I'm in doing this, let me tell you something, if I get an opportunity to put a black woman on screen for people to see them in love, in happy, in joy, in pain, in struggle, what I'm doing is a service to all people so that people will know that black women are not just strong and one thing, they are all things and they go through all of these different things. So to have an opportunity to be able to paint all of these pictures in all sides of us, something that I'm paying homage to my mother, to my aunt, to my sisters, and friends and cousins and the things that they all went through. So that's what
allegations. Tyler has released statements trying to defend himself. He says his films are meant to uplift and represent black women, especially those who struggle. He argues that the lawsuit is just an attack on his success, especially now that Straw and some of his other projects are doing well. Tyler's defense is that he wants to show black women in all their experiences, joy, pain, love, and hardships. He says that his goal is to honor the women in his life, his mother, aunts, sisters, cousins, and friends. According to him, portraying struggle is part of telling the full story. But let's be real, everyone can't be lying. While Tyler has helped a lot of people and created jobs for many, others say he's caused just as much harm. The people speaking out now are proof of that. It feels like the black community is stuck in a one-sided relationship with him, loving the success, but hurt by the way they're shown on screen. Personally, I've always had an issue with how Tyler Perry writes black women. It has nothing to do with his personal life or sexuality. What bothers me is how often his